Duolingo today as I was like going back and trying to legendary all the old lessons.
Oh, yeah. I just try and do that before I move on to the next one. But yeah. I'm battling with a dude in the Emerald League.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I just happen to be playing. Like, if you start it at certain times of the day that are like low traffic, if you don't do it in the evening, if you do it like midday or you do it on a Sunday, you'll once you do a lesson, it'll say, "Hey, you've unlocked double XP for the next 15 minutes." And so I got two of those back to back today, and ended up because we it just finished out yesterday my 31-day thing, so I'm in another league now, and I got like 550 points or something just doing the double points thing for a couple of things. Then that dude overtook me, and then I did one more Hanzi thing, and that was enough to put me over him.
Yeah.
So we're like going.
Well, I don't think I'm in any danger of losing this week.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you've got it sewed up. That app exploits what Duolingo does. Oh, exploits what? YouTube was stuck for you. Oh, well, seems like everybody else is working. Bounty Paul stuck on a delayed Amtrak at the moment, but luckily you're streaming. Cool, a delayed Amtrak. I thought Joe was making the trains run on time.
He hasn't even mentioned a train in forever. All his derailments happened. He didn't want to bring up trains no more.
Yep. I'm enjoying some peanuts right now. Oh, good for you, bud. I bet those are some tasty peanuts. Train peanuts. Started doing Japanese. That's cool. Yep. I'm having a really good time learning Chinese, and slowly but surely I'm picking up more complex stuff. So I don't know. I talk about it a lot in generalities, but it's neat.
We had a mifan for dinner.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know if you learned the names of anything else that we had besides the mifan.
I did. I have not.
I guess you could call it tofu.
Mifan Hudofu.
Yeah. It's not really tofu, but it's
kind
close enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a word for fake meat.
You lost your medical license. You're no longer a Yishang. Tabu Shihuan Yishang. No, Tabu Shi Yishang. Yeah, dude, I'm not great with the Hanzi yet, homie. That looks like Hingao Shingrenshini. I don't know though, dude. That's long. I can't help you with that. Oh, wait, hold on. There's some stuff in there I might know. Zhong. I see a couple of things in there, but no, the Hanzi shit is slower for me.
I can't copy paste. Lame.
Oh, you can't copy paste the
comment.
No. Can you read Chinese? Yeah, a little. Probably not. I'm learning Pinyin better than I'm learning Hanzi.
Oh, I see the Zhongwen in there. I see it.
Yeah. That's the one that stood out to me too. Mandarin kind of scares me because I feel like I might get the tone wrong and say something I don't mean. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a different language, very different from any other language I've ever messed around with.
I don't think you would trust yourself to just talk to a random Chinese person right now and hope that your stuff's good enough.
No. Are you into Chinese girls? Not particularly, no. I mean, I'm not into them, I guess, but...
You just really haven't been around many of them.
I didn't grow up around a whole lot of Asians. I will tell you, I've kind of like had a thing for this half Japanese girl that I met when I went to California State Summer School for the Arts. Her name was Jenny Wong, and she was half Japanese, half Italian or something. It's just like supermodel status, you know? Paul, no longer a ball, so svelte and clean, he's a king to us all. Why are you guys make so many little rhymes about me, man? You guys are always making little rhymes about me. It's hard to suppress your accent when you speak another language. Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, fluency is not my goal. Nice. Everybody makes up all their little fucking nursery rhymes about me, dude.
You're just too memeable.
I guess so, yeah. I think my whole face and being is memeable. I think I'm very easily memeable. How did you get rid of your accent? Well, I mean, I didn't fully, but mimicry, listening to people that had different accents and mimicking those accents. That's why I think I'm having an easier time with the Chinese, because
you're better at like mimicking the sounds.
They read it to you how it's supposed to be pronounced. So like
you speak it to it sometimes.
And I really try and get not just the words right, but the tone as well. 我是中文老师, right? They go up even though you're not asking a question. It just means I'm a Chinese teacher, right? 我说中文和英文.
Why is your grinder farting?
Because it's got like little bits of queef in between the little things. It's making a little queefing noises.
The keef queef.
The keef queef, yeah. Yeah, the keef queef. It's just because I'm smoking all this gas. It's California powder, you know?
You gotta tell Zeke about that, the keef queef.
The keef queef, yeah. It's my fault. I mean, you're supposed to maintain your grinder and knock the keef out of it, you know? But I'm just a dirty bastard. What can I say? Just let it happen the way I want.
Yeah, that could be like a whole like tagline for like grinder cleaners. Got the keef queef.
Yeah. Dude, here's another fucking weird thing about Chinese that makes it kind of weird, and I had to learn this through trial and error. The ta is a universal pronoun, like pronunciation wise, for he or she, right? So ta shi huan pao bu would mean what?
He or she likes running.
Mm-hmm. But there are two different Hanzis for the male and female of ta. It pronounced exactly the same, two different Hanzis. So there, yesterday I got a question wrong and I passed it off to Amelia and I was like, dude, I don't think I got this wrong. And she went through and she's like, yeah. So I reported it, but that's what it was. I used the wrong ta when I plugged in the Hanzi. And so it didn't, it specifically teach me that. At least if it did, I don't remember it teaching me that. So kind of interesting, you know? A lot of stuff is like, if you translate it directly, like Wobu Shihuan Pao Bu, I don't like running, right? Is how we would say it, but it's
like I know
like running.
Yeah.
I know like running. You know, would be the direct translation for how they, like, they don't have multiple forms of the negative. You just add bu contractually to something. So chong chong is frequent, chong bu, or bu chong is infrequent. You can use ta for it as well. That's interesting.
She it.
It's like the it's like the pronoun respecting folk, people that have alternate pronouns or neutral pronouns. It's like their dream.
Yeah.
One word for all. Different Hanzis though. Is there a different? I assume there's a different Hanzi for ta if you're using it as well. That's gonna be fun. On my to get list is a Steam Deck and a Switch OLED. Anything to look out for with either of them?
I mean, I don't know why you'd get a Switch and a Steam Deck.
I mean,
just for Nintendo games.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, with the Steam Deck, it's like, it says it's not Steam Deck compatible. Sometimes it's alright, and sometimes it ain't.
Yep. That's true. Because you're a Nintendo simp, we know. We know. You're simping for that Nintendo. Chicken Nintendo.
I haven't looked at mine in a hot minute. I don't know.
Oh, the whatever, Switch?
Steam Deck or the Switch.
Yeah.
I did a fair amount of the Lego Harry Potter on it, but I just got kind of bored with it after a while.
Yeah.
There's like no storage on the Switch though. Like you want to get the fucking like little SD card or whatever to put in it.
Yeah, you gotta upgrade it. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't get a Switch, but I'm not a big Nintendo guy.
Yeah.
I moved on from Bunny Bop Simulator. Watch all the Nintendo people freak out.
Poor Wii U, man.
I know.
Just a little bit before their time.
Yeah, Wii U was great, but yeah, it was just a little early.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's time for Vidya. No, we're not gonna allow it.
Thing. Yeah, we're talking about consoles.
Yeah, I get to slip in a little fucking stab every now and again, but you don't get to stab back because we're not gonna do it. It's a one knife fight, okay? But the Wii U was great. I got it specifically just to play Monster Hunter 3U. I was like obsessed with Monster Hunter. Hadn't gotten to play it yet, but I was watching people play it, just like obsessing and dreaming about it. So I got a Wii U just so I could play it because I didn't want to get the fucking handheld version. And yeah, the Wii U was cool. It was definitely ahead of its time, trying to be a handheld, just like 10 years too early.
Same with the PSP.
Yeah, PSP had some pretty dope stuff on it too. It was just the world wasn't ready for that high-end handheld shit yet. People still
were like just super excited about having it on a big screen, and they just didn't see the value. And
well, there was that, and then like Nintendo had like the handheld shit sewed all the way the fuck up too.
with the Game Boys,
The DS or whatever, and all that shit. Like, if you wanted to do that, people just had that. And so trying to throw another handheld out there, and it was always that way too. It's like back in the 80s, Sega had one, a Game Gear. I think it was Sega Game Gear, it was called. And it was color way before Game Boy Color came out, but it never got big. There was Atari tried to make one called the Lynx, and it looked way better than a fucking Game Boy, but nobody bought one, you know, because everybody had a Game Boy. That's the way it worked.
Yeah, I had the DS for a while.
I think that's their most popular handheld ever, was the original Nintendo DS. Game Gear was a little rough around the edges. It didn't have a backlight, and so it was kind of hard to, well, I mean, it did, but the backlight was weak. So it was kind of hard to see if you weren't in a lit area. But Game Gear had some cool stuff on it, Lynx. If you go back and look at like what they were doing and then look at your average Game Boy game in comparison, it's like they blew like graphically speaking and complexity speaking, they blew it out of the water.
I think what might have happened too is like, I think they saw the handheld as more of like a kid thing.
Well, that was video games entirely back in the
Yeah.
day. Like back in the 80s and shit, there were very few people in their 20s that were into video games. Like, so in 85, I think, is when the NES dropped. And prior to that, there had just been arcade machines and shit. They were just seen as like a frivolous bowling alley pastime to adults. Kids really adopted those games and would pump quarters into them. And then when the home console shit came out, because the only other way, I was playing video games at home before the Nintendo, but my dad was a computer nerd. So when the NES dropped, I mean, the Atari came before it. There were a lot of things that came before it, but the NES was ubiquitous. When it dropped, every kid had one in their house. Every kid had tons of games. You had to have one. And it was seen as a child's hobby for probably the first, let's say from 85 through like 2005. Video games were seen as primarily something that teenage boys did. Like tween and teenage boys were playing video games. That's what they were making video games for.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think maybe the earlier handhelds were trying to be too mature.
They weren't, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of like Sonic the Hedgehog was the big system seller on the Game Gear.
Well, I meant like they look more mature. They
Oh.
weren't all cutesy like the Game
Oh, they should have
Boy.
made them like pink or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Like the PSP looked very, you know, it almost looked like what like a Samsung Galaxy used to look like.
Yeah. The first console I can remember playing was Intellivision. I had a friend that had an Intellivision, and you play Snake on it. You could play. It was a very rudimentary home console, and the controller was odd. It's like it looked like a TV remote with a dial in the middle, and you would do left and right by turning left and right on this little wheel thing. But yeah, that's the first like console I played, and it's one of the first. It's up there with like ColecoVision. I played that as well. I had a friend that had a Vectrex, which is a really neat old console. Vectrex is still dope. Like, I would love to have a Vectrex because nothing else looks like it still to this day. Like 3D wireframe kind of cheated perspective. Yeah, I played ColecoVision, I played Intellivision, I played Atari 2800 and Atari 5600. You know, I can't think of any other ones that I played in there. I played a Neo Geo Gold, which was really neat. I had a rich friend that had a Neo Geo Gold. Those costed $150 per game, which back then was the price of an entire console, pretty much. Never played a Lynx, played a Game Gear. I played an Atari Jaguar. Kind of a neat system, honestly. I remember it had a pretty like weird controller though, and it was expensive, and nobody was buying it. So, you know, but that was kind of a rare '90s console, the Atari Jaguar, in that weird space between 16-bit and 64-bit. They came out with 32-bit console, the Atari Jaguar, and the 3DO. Played one of those as well. Odd 90s consoles that just never went anywhere. 3DO was the first CD-based game console. Beat the PlayStation to market, but it just wasn't accessible enough. Not enough people bought it, so nobody was making games for it. And was SNES an affordable console back then? Yeah. I mean, they weren't like dirt ass cheap or anything, but they weren't like, you weren't priced out as long, you know. I mean, some kids were, obviously. But, you know, you're
the same way some kids are priced out of cell phones.
Or priced, some kids are priced out of clothes,
yeah.
You know? So it's like, but yeah, most kids.
It's probably like equivalent to getting your kid a cell phone.
Like, I didn't get a Nintendo until like 87. So it was a couple years after it came out, and I got a cheap secondhand one. That's another thing about those old consoles and shit, is like it was very easy to resell them because there was no like
account.
Your account wasn't tied to it, and like, yeah, so you could just like, you know, get one secondhand at a secondhand electronics place. You'd see them all the time for like, you know, 30-40 bucks. And, you know, I think my mom finally found one of those, got me a few games for my birthday. And, you know, it was great.
And now it's like a whole ordeal for every single game. They're like 60 bucks a pop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember, yeah, video games used to be about 20 bucks. Maybe 15 bucks, depending on the game. And now, yeah, I mean, it's been, the standard was 50 bucks for a long time. Now they've pushed it up past 60.
Like there's more $70 games coming out.
Yep. Yeah. If you could afford an NES, you could afford a SNES. Yeah, yeah. I can't remember, honestly. I think it was the SNES with, you know, the package they sold it comes with one. I think the SNES came with 2 controllers and Super Mario World when it first dropped. And I want to say it was 150 bucks. And I want to say that the Sega Genesis in the same configuration with Sonic was like 120. Which, you know, that's a lot of money if you look back in the 90s.
So, at the very first time, it released for $199, which was equivalent to $450 today.
The SNES?
Yeah. Which is cheaper than, like, the consoles today.
And what was the Genesis? Look at the Sega Genesis. Yeah, Dreamcast was a cool system. I had a friend that had a Dreamcast.
Okay. So the Sega Genesis, originally $199, adjusted $450 again. So.
Yeah, so around the same price then. So a couple $100 to get into the console game, but it's more like 450 bucks. But if you think about it now, it's $700 to get a PS5.
Yeah. And those came with controllers usually.
Yep.
Versus these
Yep.
new ones not coming with controllers.
Well, yeah. I mean, they might like usually you
Well,
buy
like
a bundle.
package deal, yeah.
The $700 package deal for the PS5 that comes with a controller and whatever game they've bundled in is $700, give or take. That's fucking retarded. How strict is the 75 plus IQ rule here? That strict. The fact that you even had to ask got you booted. What's your favorite controller ever? Xbox 360. No shot, none of them even come close. The Xbox 360 wired USB controller is the greatest controller I've ever held in my hands. I've held the new Xbox controller. It's not as good.
You just don't like PlayStation controllers at all.
No, PlayStation controllers are too small for my big chubby hands. I've got to have I like the Xbox because it's substantial in my hands. Fits my hands really good. 360 wired USB is the greatest controller ever made. It was light, durable. I used one until the stick started to drift, and I think I had it for like 8 years. Straight up the greatest controller I've ever owned. You can't even buy them anymore for that reason, because people just bought them up. Big, chunky, really responsive sticks, great buttons, and placement for triggers and bumpers and all that is just right for my hands. After that, I know this is going to sound stupid, I got to give it to the NES paddle, bro. The NES D-pad AB, start select. The old gray one, bro. Tiny little controller, feels great in the hand, super responsive on the fucking D-pad. I know it's a fucking cliche one to pick, but bro, that original OG, it still feels great in the hand. Simple, effective. You're not hitting the wrong button ever. I love games designed around that 2-button on-analog philosophy because it didn't limit the games. It made them make the controller sing. Like, you gotta take that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 input controller and make it do 30 functions. How do you fix stick drift? I fucking don't know. I know that there are companies where you send your controller in and they'll do like a refurb on it, but it's probably going to cost more than the controller's worth to get it done, I would imagine. So. Dude, the NES controller is super comfy in the hands, bro. Because you don't have to have all your fingers engaged. You're not up on the bumpers. You're not back on the triggers. It's literally just right here. Right there. It's home base, baby. It's beautiful. Would you rather play Atari 2600 with the original joystick or with a Genesis controller? I will give you this honorable mention, the Genesis 6-button. When Genesis dropped a 6-button so that it could have fighting games that were, beyond 3 buttons, because the first Genesis controller was D-pad, start, select, ABC. So one more button than the NES. And about halfway through the life cycle of the Genesis, they dropped a really tight 6-button. Like the branded Sega on-brand Genesis 6-button controller, the first release. Dope. That was my favorite controller for the Genesis ever. Worked flawlessly with every game, old, new, no matter what. Super solid controller. So honorable mention for sure. But that original NES fucking deck, dude, I gotta tell you, man, super comfortable. Super comfortable. Dude, 90s and 2000 everything ads for kids were neurotic and weird. It's like about punishing your parents, and it was all just like frantic ADHD nonsense, bro. It was crazy. Yeah, I don't know what they did later, so I won't vouch for later. But that original release, Genesis 6 button, too slick. Too comfortable in the hand. Great to play MK on. Street Fighter. Your parents just don't understand. That's why you should get a crazy shotgun and blow their heads off in the new Sega game. Kill your parents. It's like... Yeah. You know, like, it's 100% nostalgia, but I do miss analog stuff. Sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, just that easy ass. I miss when plugging in your Nintendo or whatever, you had to unscrew the antenna from the back of your TV to screw in the Nintendo cable. Remember that shit? Coaxial connection? Eh? You think about that shit, huh? Yeah, dude, that RF coax, dude. Yeah. Everybody loved it. No, I'm kidding. It sucked. They openly made their games seem addicting and life derailing too. Miss that, honestly. Yeah. Adjusting the vertical hold on your TV. You guys you ever had to do that? Gotta adjust the V hold sometimes because you got a tape that's running a little slow. Kind of like, all right, it's not rolling anymore. All that old shit was good, man. It was fun, but I wouldn't go back to it, you know. Probably, if I had a choice. Yeah, you got the little A and B toggle switch eventually, so you don't have to unplug and replug in the antenna every time. Yeah. VHS tapes were cool, man. there was something charming about them. The quality was shit, but it was charmingly shit. You know what I mean? I miss them days. Them crazy days. Remember when you had to get up and go to the TV to change the channel? Yeah. Yeah, dude. Do you know what we called the remote when it first came out, bro? This is how you know I'm old as fuck. The clicker. You know why it was called the clicker? Because them first remotes went... They were like old clicking analog buttons. So I called it the clicker, bro. That's how you know a motherfucker's old. I still will say, hand me the clicker. All right. That's better. Got dry eyes. Clear eyes is awesome. Wow. Actually not clear eyes. Shout outs to the Roto spicy eye drops, yo. What about walking with this brick called a Walkman? Oh yeah, Walkmans were dope though. Yeah, dude, I remember I wanted nothing more than a Discman in the world. I think it was 92. And I got a Discman for like my birthday, I think it was. And oh man, that was a dope ass fucking Discman, bro. What about the brick Game Boy that fit in the pocket? Oh yeah, that original game, that original gray Game Boy that you could just drop in the front pocket of your jeans and it was so comfortable in there. Yeah. My first console was an NES. The first one that I had in my house. The first one I ever played was a ColecoVision, or not, sorry, an Intellivision. And the first time I played a video game in my home was on a Commodore 664. Commodore 64 128. Eventually it was a 128. Like after, I think, 88, my dad upgraded it to a 128. So yeah, I played video games on that when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, I started playing. It would have been in 85, 84, 85, something like that. Yep, I played the Virtual Boy. I actually worked at Blockbuster at the time the Virtual Boy came out. And if you guys remember, back in the 90s, Blockbuster used to have demo things where, you know, you could play a 64, you could play a Virtual Boy, you could play a PlayStation, right? You guys remember this? They had a Virtual Boy there in the store, and hell yeah, we all played it. It sucked. You would get a headache after like 5 minutes. Everybody in the store reported starting to get a headache after playing for 5 minutes. You had your SP stolen by a kid in second grade. You should have whooped his ass. Thieves get ass whooped, bro. Or at least tattled on. You know? You let their parents take care of the ass whooping. Just tattle on. There you go, D. There you go, dirty old dusty D. From the salty sea. You're so cute, but we gotta get you trimmed. You're gonna get one more trim before winter, I think. One more trim before the winter time, methinks. Yeah. By the end of winter, you'll be shaggy like this again. That'll work. Be ready for another trim. Man, I can't abide a thief, bro. I can't abide a thief, bro. Especially somebody that just like steals from somebody that hardly got nothing. Like, it's one thing to like, people were like freaking out when footage of these like smash and grabs started coming out. Where like 3 or 4 teenagers run up in an iPhone store and steal a bunch of phones and run. And it's like, dude, there's no harm, no foul there. Apple is not going out of business because somebody stole an iPhone out of a store. But yeah, like stealing from other people that are in your neighborhood, in your family, in your friends group, bro, I don't abide that shit, bro. I don't abide that shit. And if you've known a motherfucker that'll walk up into a store and steal something, you better watch that motherfucker extra. Because in my experience, even a motherfucker that claims to have that kind of morality where it's, oh, I just steal from the store, that motherfucker will pick your pocket when you're not looking. If he'll take something from Walmart, he'll take something from your ass. You better bet. I just don't chill with thieves, period. I'm not trying to hate, but I got too many trust issues already. What about stealing hearts? Aw, that's okay. You could steal my heart, I guess. Just don't, steal my money. Or my goods. Or my shit. Or any of my shit. Or my car. My shit alone, homie. I buy your heart. I don't care so much for money. Money can't buy me love. Nope. Can't buy me love. Yeah, I steal a lot of digital games, movies, and music, but I gotta tell you something right now, okay? You guys remember the movement, like, you wouldn't download a car, would you? Because my answer to that was, bro, yes. Yes, I would. That's the whole thing. The internet is a whole different beast, bro. And there's a lot of people that would hate that take. But e-commerce is a whole different beast, bro. If you're going to be a digital artist, you're going to be posting your shit up there, better watermark it up. You don't want people to just outright take it. And even then, there are ways of removing that shit. So you just got to compete with that. You got a lot for that. I don't look at that as anything like it, you know what I mean? Like pirating a game or whatever. It's just fucking retarded. I don't see that as thievery, but maybe that's just a blind spot for me. What if we steal from the rich and give to the poor? I mean, most people doing smash and grabs are doing just that, right? The poor is themselves and the rich is Apple, right? About pirating a game from a company you respect. Well, this is whatever, right? In my 20s, when bucks was tight, dude, I pirated my ass off. But as soon as I started making steady enough money to where, like, dropping $50 to get a game or wait for it to go on sale at 20, it wasn't that big of an expenditure for me, I completely stopped, right? And that's that. Now, I'm not saying that it was moral for me to do that, right? I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just saying that was my personal red line. It was just like, all right, it starts to feel a little bit fucking shitty, downloading whole ass video games and playing them when I've got the discretionary income to buy a game if I want to. I can afford any piece of media that I want. I just enjoy piracy. Cool. I mean, more power to you, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't judge other people for pirating. It's just when I stopped. I started to feel a little bit shitty taking games from, because like so many like small studios started to crop up making these really neat games. But I was in such a pirate mode that they never got paid for me, you know what I mean? And like I said, once I reached a certain fucking level of income, I couldn't justify stealing anymore, and so I just stopped doing the piracy thing. Well, that's not entirely true, I guess. I will still, like, from time to time, like, pirate a movie if I can't find it. Like, I'm currently subscribed to 3 different movie channels.
Yeah, and you feel like that's enough.
Yeah, dude, if I can't find a fucking... And I'm not talking about some obscure movie most of the time either.
Yeah.
Just some movie, some old movie that was popular back in the day that I want to watch. Dude, if being a member of 3 separate streaming services right now is not enough to get me that movie, then I'm finna pirate it. Sorry. That's it.
I think we do need to dump Disney Plus. We gotta remember
Mhm.
that. I think we did the Star Wars and we did the Indiana Jones.
I don't
No
really
one
think
else
there's
is
anything
left.
else on there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll dump it.
Such a pain in the ass. You gotta do it. How you gotta do it though.
Yeah. I already dumped the Netflix, so that'll be falling off at the end of the month. And, yeah, we'll dump the Disney Channel, and we'll, I don't know, just cruise with Peacock for a while. Peacock's got a great horror selection, so, like,
And they got their Harry Potter turn.
yeah,
They get it like once or twice a year.
they've
for a
got their
month.
Potters, yeah.
Usually HBO has it, but like they give it to Peacock a couple months of the year or whatever.
Yeah. Paul, back in the day, did you prefer to pirate music or did you buy albums to support the artist? So back in the day, pirating music was different, right? So like a lot of people, when people started dubbing tapes, I remember my parents, I was young. I was like a kid, 6 or 7 maybe, but my parents they got one of the early A to B tape deck where you could dub your own tapes. And I remember that there was a big discussion at the time over whether they were going to, you know, like, and so they tried to put some countermeasure on the tape back in the 80s, I remember, where the recording head that you needed to transfer wasn't available, but you could just pop it off and make it, like, people learned how to make a tape dubbable. And so, like, that was the first edge of piracy, really. It's like somebody owned a tape, and now that tape has been dubbed 98 times, and nobody knows who the original owner is, and it's got maybe 1,000 owners. You know, that could have happened back in the 80s really easily. People passed around, and then...
People would, you know, put the tape in the VCR to record a show.
Yep, people found out pretty early on, once VCRs, because when VCRs first came out, nobody had one because they were $800 back in the 80s. But once they came down and you could get a VCR for $80, people would get 2. And if you wired them together, you could record the signal coming out of one and dub tapes. So movie piracy kicked in. Then CDs came out, and CDs originally were, in a lot of people's minds, just for music. But for nerds like me, CDs were video games. So I was a PC gamer already. And so that started, that was probably in like 92 when read-writable CDs started to come out. And then it was free-for-all, right? If your friend had an album, he could burn the entire album in full quality.
Yeah.
No transfer loss that you would get from redubbing tapes.
Oh, yeah, I had a bunch of, like, my dad sent me a burned copy of that show Heroes.
Yeah. So, like, prior to that, right? Prior to people being able to afford VCRs, piracy was pretty much non-existent. Like, you had to watch what was on TV. You had to go to the movies to see a movie. And if you wanted to see it again, you got to go to the movies again or wait for it to get on TV.
Or, you know, go to...
Yeah.
I mean, like, before VCRs.
Yeah, before VCRs. I mean, there were reel-to-reel tapes, but nobody was renting them. Betamax was another fucking format that came out around the same time as VHS, but nobody had one. You know, they were prohibitively expensive in comparison with a VHS machine. VHS machines were already $800. So yeah, nobody had that ability when I was probably like, you know, around when I can start remembering. Like, I was about 6 when my parents got a top loader VHS, which is weird because it didn't load in the front automatically. you would hit a button and a cage would pop up out of the top. You'd put the tape in it and push it down, and that's how you loaded it. My parents got one of those. I don't know what the fuck they paid for it. Probably a lot of money. And that was, so at that time, my Aunt Barbara had a, what they called a black box, which was a descrambler for cable. And she knew that I was a huge movie buff, even as a little boy. And so she just started taping HBO and Cinemax and shit, all and just throwing them at me. Like, I don't know what's on this one, PJ. I taped it all night. Or I don't know what's on these, but I taped all of these for you. And dude, I got the craziest shit. Hellraiser, Freddy, all the Freddy movies, all that. Because HBO was, there were like two. The HBO and Showtime, that was it. And she would just tape them both, you know? And I just had stacks of tapes, and I would label them once I knew what was on them. And I just had racks and racks and racks of these tapes. And when I got done with one, or if one just had a bunch of crap I didn't like, I'd give it back to her so she could tape another one on it.
So were like the tapes themselves just super cheap versus the machine?
Once it got to that point, yeah. Because VHS machines came out, I think, in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Like 76 or 77, and they were prohibitively expensive. Boutique, rich people only kind of tech. By the mid 80s, they were affordable for a blue collar worker, and the blank tapes were cheaper than dirt.
So they thought, like, oh yeah, people are gonna put their home movies on
Right.
this or some shit.
Right. And people wanted a bunch of them
Yeah.
because they wanted to dub a bunch of movies off of people and have a big library that they could see. People back then, it wasn't like you could afford infinity tapes, but you get 10 of them.
Yeah.
And then when you're bored of your movies, you go dub off of somebody else. You know, you borrow a few more movies from your friends, you lend out a few, and those get recycled and redubbed over and redubbed over. So that was how piracy started, like in terms of media piracy. I can't think of a way that it may, oh, I guess maybe prior to that, if we want to go way back, performing a show without giving any money or royalties to the people that wrote it or owned the copyright for it was probably rampant for a long time.
There were probably a lot of people working in theaters that would make copies.
If you were willing to do some re-recording and splicing, if you had, you know, a little 2-track tape recorder, you could tape the radio all day and then go in and splice out commercials, and you'd have like a whole summer mix, you know? A lot of tapes like that would get passed around. Sometimes when you were a kid, that was the only way your ass was going to get music you liked. Wait for it to come on MTV or the radio, or tape it off of the radio. So that was the first thing people would start doing when a hot new track came out, before CDs and all that, was you would have your tape in the deck, radio on, ready to fucking catch that song. And when you heard it start, you would just go. And a lot of people would have songs with that stupid DJ at the beginning going, 95.7 The Box, this is Deep Purple. You know what I mean? That's just how it was. But yeah, these like home recording things. See, I remember my dad had, well, my dad didn't have one, but my best friend's dad had one. A camcorder that recorded directly to VHS. This was fucking crazy. I don't know how he got it, because they were like $1,200 when they first came out. And he had one of the first ones, big chunky thing, big old telephoto lens, eyepiece, and you just pop a tape in. And oh man, we made crazy tapes because it was so easy to splice. We could do planned camera tricks. So my friend, at the time, she went by John, and I made a whole Terminator 2 like parody, where like we made me disappear by like going zoom, 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 and then just holding the camera still, cutting it. I move out of the way, turn the camera back on. So no editing, and it would look like I just blinked out of existence. You know, just little shit like that. And you know, that was the forefront of, you know, being able to do that on your phone a million times over and do all kinds of cool shit with it at the touch of a button in an app, you know. Pretty neat.
Dinor.
He's gotta fucking go, bro.
All the time.
So fucking loud. He just spooks me. Oh. He's gonna be the death of me one day, that boy.
Fucking something wrestling like the next 2
It's
yards.
just, it was a cat
Yeah.
wrestling around a bush next door.
Don't even try to be pathetic. Don't even try.
But yeah, no, like old media was fun. It was a lot of fun. Definitely not preferable to now, though. I love how the music industry has changed as a result of piracy.
Yeah.
That's one of the arguments for piracy, is that, not to quote the movie, but Napster changed the music industry forever, for better and for always. It unleashed the digital age on a stagnant music industry that was charging more and more money for an exorbitant amount of garbage. And so Napster came along and allowed it, freed up the music industry, and now when somebody drops a new album, it's just online that day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of like smaller like artists will put their whole album out on their YouTube channel.
Or just drop it one at a time and build hype, and then eventually your whole album's out. Little visualizers or like a little self-produced music video thing, very common, right? Because this that I'm doing this on is basically a movie camera from 10 years ago. No, seriously. What the iPhone can do is obscene for what it is. And so you could film a whole fucking movie on an iPhone, let alone a chill-ass rap video. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is that you need to accompany your music.
Yeah. Have you been watching many music videos lately at all, or no?
Yeah, I watch a lot. I'm a big fan of Cole Bennett, who does Lyrical Lemonade. I don't know if you've ever run across that, but he does really good, slickly shot and edited videos for rappers.
I see.
I like his eye, and I like who he chooses to feature. He features not just like the biggest people, but like up and coming people that maybe sometimes the only time I ever see them is they had a Cole Bennett feature. You know, so I like that. But I watch a lot of, because music videos are back in a big way. Big artists for big releases will drop a video as a visualizer. They're not like as crazy as they used to be.
Well, some of them are like that fucking Guess music video, which I don't know if you still haven't seen yet, have you?
I don't think so.
With the fucking big bulldozer going over panties.
No, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I guess they are still making some big end ones, some high end ones.
Yeah, they
But,
got a whole ass bulldozer and a whole mountain of fucking panties.
Yep. That's pretty crazy. Still to this day, though, nobody has beaten the original OG greatest music video of all time. Well, there's two. There's two that I think are right at the top. One of them is very commonly cited, Thriller. Thriller is like a vignette and then that leads into a music. I don't know if you've ever watched
I have, yeah.
It's cool.
We watched it in class, actually.
Yeah. That's actually kind of cool. It's spooky, but not like overly spooky.
Well, we watched it in our like video production class.
Oh, that's cool. So Thriller and Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel. That's one that hardly anybody ever mentions, but dude, that watch that music video if you've never watched it. It's worth a watch. It is fucking crazy. Thriller's on a whole nother level. Well, I mean, Michael Jackson was on a whole nother level.
I'm gonna make you watch the fucking guest video then, since you haven't seen it yet still.
Yeah.
You obviously can't do it here, because it's gonna immediately flag and fucking rip the stream down.
Oh, probably.
too
Maybe.
big.
I don't know.
It was too big, man. It was like a top Billboard song, so
Gotcha.
you can't just play that.
Yeah, I've been listening to two rappers that are both very weird, but I think that they're kind of cool. What's his name? Dave Blunts. Definitely not my kind of music, but I like him because he just released a song like 3 days ago that starts off, if you really listen to the music, super like emotional and sad. And then it switches immediately and becomes like dirty and grimy. And I don't know, there's something about him that I can't put my finger on, but I've been listening to his shit over and over and over. And then BLP Kosher is like he's a Jewish rapper. I don't know how else to put it, but he's fucking insane. Like what underpins the tech of a movie camera. I mean, I'm not an expert, but a movie camera is typically going to have the ability to take a bunch of different lenses and to shoot at different speeds. That's talking about a film camera. It's not uncommon for movies to still shoot film, but typically they're high-end movies because film is incredibly expensive in comparison to digital. And digital, like the CMOS sensor, has gone so far beyond that now, you know, digital cameras can do things that film cameras just simply cannot.
That was IMAX film or digital?
Digital. Yeah. Yeah, any movie that's shot for IMAX is 100% shot digitally. In fact, most movies are now. I'm trying to think of the last movie I know was shot film. I want to say Killers of the Flower Moon was shot on film. But I might be wrong about that.
Such a fucking disappointing movie. It's all fucking Leonardo DiCaprio's fault.
Yeah, stupid ass fucking Leo had to make it all about him.
Well, like, it was already going to be all about him, but he wanted it to be about the worst character in the story and be him.
Yeah, Hateful Eight was shot in 40mm CinemaScope. Yeah, Oppenheimer, I guess. I'll take your word for it. I didn't know that, but that's cool. Still have not seen Oppenheimer.
Well, it's like World War II movie number 9,000.
True. And I just watched that Turing movie.
Yeah, the fucking the Imitation Game.
Yeah. And now I gotta watch another fucking World War II movie with a sexy British guy in it. Dune 2 was also shot on film and in digital. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. A little mixed media stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe there's something about physical film that's better for, like, natural landscapes and stuff, maybe.
I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you. Paul, have you ever worked third shift? So you're talking like graveyard, overnight? No. Don't think I've ever had an overnight type job.
I did one holiday season. I did 12-hour nights.
When would you go in?
I would go in at like 6 and then leave at 6.
Leave at 6 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, I never did overnights. I did what my mom would have called days and swing. So days, swing, graveyard, third shift, first shift, second shift, third shift.
By the time I was done with that fucking, because it was 60 hours a week, it was 5/12s from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
And
I
then-
had to like just take a huge vacation because I was just done.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine. Especially working in that kind of a fucking environment.
So it's
Just
like I made
nuts.
all this OT money and like the shift differential because they paid us more for working that shift.
Right.
But like probably a lot of that was burnt on the vacation I had to take after to recover.
I'm closing a Taco Bell right now. Well, I hope you don't get any last second orders, bro. Hope you don't get that last second fucking 10 item order. It's the worst, bro. Dude, the worst for me back in the Starbucks days, especially like the pre-drive-through days, was that crew of fucking teenagers that strolls in at like 9:50 and wants frappuccinos and everything on the thing, and you've got like 95% of the store cleaned and closed, and you got to reopen a bar. I hate those little motherfucking skibbities. But the way it worked wasn't, oh, dude, they hated it when you did this. But this was prior to them installing cameras in every fucking store. So you just start closing down the fucking store 10 minutes, at least 15 to 20 minutes, honestly, before the store starts closing. You start, a blender goes down, one of the machines goes down, mats get pulled and mopped, ice machine gets scooped out and rinsed and cleaned, right? So that as soon as you're like get the door locked and finish up the things you can't do with customers there, you're gone, man. You're out the dope.
Did you ever have anyone that like slipped in and you just like couldn't kick them out and you were stuck for like half hour past closing?
No, I mean, like, I would straight up let people know.
Yeah.
I'd say, hey, we'll make your drink, but we're closing in like 3 minutes. So we'll get you a drink, but we got to be quick about it. 99% of the time, people were understanding. But understanding or not, when the time came, it was like, hey, you got to go.
I had to work like half an hour past close once with a customer.
No. I mean, like, technically, we weren't, but like, I never put up with that shit.
Yeah.
I was never like rude about it unless a person just wasn't listening.
Yeah.
But I never had to get like real brawlic with a person. Typically, people weren't looking to be assholes about it. They're just, wanted to grab a frap late or whatever.
But yeah, the one time, it was like a full half hour after close, but it ended up being a big sale, so my manager wasn't mad.
Yeah. Nah, that's not bad.
It's like $300 sale or some shit. But then she got freaked out because I went into I'd worked long enough where I should have had a meal break and I didn't because I was supposed to have clocked out like an hour before.
Yeah. I mean, it can be nutty. Retail is crazy. What was it like back then? Was the coffee much better? No, but the vibe was better. Prior to the drive-through days or whatever, Starbucks they had this philosophy called the third place, which is not owned by them. They didn't come up with it, but it's like you're talking about like social theory, right? People have two places that they go, home and work, right? Those are your routine places. And Starbucks was, the idea was they wanted to create a third place. So Starbucks was an all inside experience. It's not to say that people wouldn't come to just take their coffee to go, but there was no phone orders, no app orders. You had to go in, stand in the line in the morning, get your bagel and your coffee, and sit down if you wanted or leave, right? And outside of rush times, it was meant to be a chill place. Chill music, clean bathrooms, clean tables, friendly people, making good coffee, right? That was the whole idea. And I really liked that. You know, I'm the type of guy that, like, if a place is paying me my guap, like I'm making my money at a place, it's like I'm gonna buy into whatever your shit is because I want to help you, especially a company like that that helps its employees. Starbucks, even back then, was the only place in town that gave full medical coverage for 20 hours a week or more. So you could work part-time and get full medical. They also had a stock grant at the end of every year based on how many hours you worked. You would get stock options that would vest over 4 years, so vest 25% at a time, and once they were vested, you owned them. And this was all without any money from you. Then they had the SIP plan, which allowed you to buy stock at a discount by letting them take a little sliver of your fucking check and put it in the stock. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, back then, we Starbucks managers and stuff were allowed to do that. They were allowed to have, like, little community events. Or like a little acoustic band, or I remember one time we had a string quintet come in and play. Little rock bands, you know, little 3-piece rock bands, DJs, acoustic acts, etc. would just kind of like set up in the store as long as they worked it out with us. But a lot of times people would just set out on the porch in the breezeway between. The first Starbucks I worked at was great, man. And yeah, people would just sit out there and busk a little bit. And like, we weren't like supposed to allow them to chill there, but they didn't bother people. They weren't like aggressively panhandling. They were busking, so it was chill. Work next door to a first unionized Starbucks. Neat. That's awesome. I miss my life on the road sometimes, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean, I could understand that, you know. You definitely, like, can't really do that lifestyle anymore. You've added on some responsibility. Some heavy responsibility coming your way. But yeah, man, I don't know. Ugh. man, that's better. Whew. Needed me some stretching. Phoebe 他喜欢音乐和唱歌。I just said Phoebe likes music and singing. Why are you learning Chinese again? Because I want to. I don't know. The original goal was to be able to read the Tao in the original Chinese and understand it when someone else read it in the original Chinese. I don't know how long it will take me to reach that level, but that's the goal. Mandarin, yeah. Well, Amelia and I are both learning, but we don't know any Chinese speakers to practice with, so no. Yeah, I'm just doing it for the like mental stimulation of it, and I've always had a facility for language, so it's been a long time since I tried to learn a new language, but I'm always fascinated with the process of it, and I've been pretty fascinated with China for the last year or two, and yeah, I don't know, we'll see. My girlfriend is learning Dutch and Italian on Duolingo. She's actually getting pretty good. Yeah. I don't know if I could juggle two, but I've been doing really good. And Amelia's really fucking blowing through it, man. Russian, that's a language I would love to learn. Yeah, I think you can do Russian on Duolingo. Duolingo does Cantonese, I believe, and Mandarin, which is neat. I chose to do Mandarin. I have a feeling like if I learn Mandarin to a level of proficiency, and then Cantonese is probably pretty similar. I would imagine, maybe. That's probably assuming a lot, though. You know, you're learning Finnish. That's neat. That's neat. But yeah, no, I would actually really like to, not in the near future, but in the medium to long future, long term, assuming it's safe to do so, I would love to visit China and to be somewhat semi conversational in Mandarin when I do. I think it would be amazing. I would love to experience that. So, one of these days I'll get around to learning Spanish. Hey, No time like the present. Pick up a little language, you know. It's easier now than it ever has been in the history of mankind. It is good for the brain, too. Gonna stimulate them neural pathways and motor neurons or whatever the fuck, right? Gonna wake them fuckers up. Wo bushi huan pao bu. Wo shi huan shang wang. You rolling one? Yes. I'd like to invite anybody in attendance tonight that can. Don't get yourself in trouble, but if you want and if you can, enjoy a joint with me. All right, let's have a nice smoke together. Because, yeah, I'm going to twist one up here. I'd enjoy a dab with you, but wasn't 200 miles away from my way. Oh, man. Well, that's okay. That's all good. What happened to my boy? Dude, this is fucking crazy, bro. I ain't heard a fucking peep from my boy Triplical. My boy Triplical lives in Florida, you. And since the first hurricane hit, man, I ain't heard shit from my boy. Triplical is a long-time viewer. And he's a Florida boy. And I'm worried about his ass, man. I just keep hoping when I run this every time that he'll pop in and just be like, hey, dude, what up? He's a long-time chat lurker guy. And he smokes with me, and he's always been chill. And I know he's a Florida guy, and I'm just hoping he's okay. Because there's another big giant fucking monster heading straight at him. Poor Trip. He said, get the fuck out of Florida completely. Everybody's gonna need to get the fuck out of Florida. I don't think it's gonna make sense to live there for much longer. Florida, sadly, will sink into the ocean one day. I don't know how sad it'll be. I don't know how sad it'll be. This is a Cat 6. Like, they're not saying that. Like, I was watching the Weather Channel, and the lady was describing it, and then she kicked it to an actual meteorologist, and she was like, actually, not to correct you, but we now have sustained winds over 165 miles an hour. This is a monster Category 5. It's a Cat 6. I called it. I don't know if I called it. Well, the only good thing that they've got going for them right now is that it's speeding up as it heads out into the Gulf, which means that when it hits, it's over land less time. The projection I saw tonight has it slamming in at a Cat 3, but yeah, 200 plus wind gusts. It's the Cat 6, y'all. And I lived down in Louisiana. One of the things that TJ and Scotty taught me is when you're in the path of a tropical storm or a hurricane, you want to look at the eye, right? And if you want to right now, just pull up your phone or take a little quick break from me or minimize me or whatever you can do, and just go look at the eye of that hurricane. It is perfectly symmetrically round, tight, and tiny. It's a monster of a storm. It's also like maybe a new normal kind of thing, because typically these types of storms don't form in the Yucatan Peninsula. Like, it's very rare for a hurricane or even a tropical storm to form in the western Yucatan part of the Gulf, and that might be the new norm. There's a man in Tampa Bay staying on his 20-foot sailboat for it. He believes God told him he'll be okay. I don't think he's gonna be okay. Just look at the satellite pictures, like the up-to-dates of it right now. I looked an hour ago and I was terrified. Dude, when you live down there, you learn to spot it. Even if it's big, if it's got a mean, tight, symmetrical eye, it's gonna be a big storm if it hits land near you. You're gonna want to get the fuck out. This is like nothing I've ever personally seen. The eye of that hurricane is tiny, which just means it's spinning incredibly fast, and it's about to head out over that bathwater, warm Gulf water. And then as it pulls into Florida, you guys remember all the stories about 98-degree ocean water in Florida? You know what drives hurricanes, right? It's humidity and heat coming up off the fucking water. It's the water temperature. It's a monster storm. Monster storm. Oh, this is gonna fuel all the fucking crazy conspiracy theorists too, because it's so rare for a storm, even a tropical storm, to form in the Yucatan. They're gonna say that like the government made this happen, like the Dems fucking used HARP to create a storm in the Gulf to fucking destroy Florida. Or see, here's the thing about these types of hurricanes too, these projections could be off tragically. They're evacuating the fuck out of... Now, I'm not saying it will be, but I'm just saying these storms, like, you know how Katrina happened, right? Katrina came inland. They thought it was over. It went back out into the Gulf, charged up again, and came inland. Slow. That's always a possibility. So I want you guys to think about this. What if this fucking thing, as it's pulling up on Florida, Cat 5... by the time, because it's losing a little steam because it's getting closer to land. What if this motherfucker just takes a wild swing north and hits fucking the Carolinas? You want to talk devastation, bro? Yikes. What if it skips across Florida, charges back up in the warm ass fucking Atlantic Ocean, and comes inland on fucking the Carolinas or New York City? See what I'm saying, bro? Yeah. West North Carolina is fucking Mad Max right now, bro. Is there any, can I ask you guys to vet some shit for me? Because I saw some fucking news story, but it was on Twitter from a dubious account. Had a bunch of people that were backing it up, though. They're saying that, like, FEMA is not allowing people to try and mount rescue operations to help people get out. Is that actually happening? Like the Cajun Navy, I think, which is like, you know, they help in the South when there's like a huge hurricane hits, right? They're saying that FEMA is setting up like checkpoints and shit on the waterways and not allowing anybody to come through to get in to help people. That's what I'm saying, dude, is like the account that I saw it posted on was kind of a maggot. So I don't know if that's like actually happening or not. That's why I wanted to vet it through you guys, because it's been in my head. Like if they're actually doing that shit though. I heard one story of a helicopter pilot being grounded from helping for no reason. It was from yeah. Well, I saw a bunch of that shit collected in that thread, and so I'm just wondering if it's dubious, if it's MAGA shit, or if there's really like some concerted effort. Like I think part of the conspiracy theory is lithium, right? West North Carolina is hugely rich in lithium. So there's this idea that they want these communities to just like be devastated and never be able to go back so they can snap up the land and mine it. FEMA website says that that's not true. Well, that's good to know. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's a post-truth world. It's like I didn't bring it to you guys as fact. I legit told you like it came from a spurious fucking source, and I don't know, but I feel like I saw it a couple of fucking times. Multiverses? Never, bro. Never. Especially not now that fucking Sparking is out, bro. And in a few years, AI video will be so real looking, you'll never know if shit's real. I mean, it's already there, bro. Let me black pill you on some shit right now, okay? And I'm just gonna walk through this. You probably heard it before, but just for the sake of argument, okay? If they let us play around with the shit we've got now that can make almost photorealistic fucking video if it's prompted correctly, if that's what they're letting us play with, then they've got the ability to completely fake events and probably have for 2-3 years now, conservatively. Fake speeches, fake appearances, fake news stories, fake bomb strikes, you know what I mean? Well, I know you're not a right-winger, but based on the news you report, it's obvious you read right-wing sources. I read sources that are all over the spectrum. I read left-wing sources. I read right-wing sources. I follow people all over the fucking spectrum, especially like even the left is a microcosm. I follow a couple of tankies. I follow a couple of post left guys. I follow a couple of like hard left, kind of like people's revolutionary kind of people. I follow some libs. I don't necessarily follow right wing accounts, but Twitter feeds you that shit. I don't ignore it. I have found a lot of spurious shit. I mean, that fucking they're roasting the cat shit was wild. You know, I called that shit out before it was hoaxed. You know, revealed. So, but you know, I pay attention to news sources. I don't decline to read a news source because it's right wing in nature. So. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. I saw it on the TV. They're eating the cats. It's a disgrace. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. It's a disgrace. I saw it on the TV. People are saying they ate my cat, they ate my dog. Those poor dogs. Dude, that fucking New Jersey, New York fucking way, dude, the way people down there say dog is straight out wild. Like, the country way is already wild, dog, if you think about it, but it's a little more understandable. Those motherfuckers in Jersey and shit, they will straight up say dog. Dog. You're the one that wanted to get a dog. Sal, you're the one that wanted a dog, but you don't want to clean up after the dog. Fucking Sal the stockbroker's wife, bro. The ultimate New Jersey fucking Jersey Shore chick, dude. She drives me nuts, bro. Oh my God. Dog. Dog. Won't you come and visit me, dog? Water. Give the dog some water. What are you doing? Don't just fucking stand there. Grab my pocketbook. I'm gonna go buy some water for the dog. Give me my pocketbook. I'm gonna go buy some water for the fucking dog. It's wild, bro. You talk exactly like that? Oh my God, Abby. Well, now it's canon. Now I'm gonna read your shit in fucking Jersey Shore. Dude, nah, I can't even stop with the feedback on my hair and shit, bro. I don't like compliments. I don't need it. It's over the top, bro. I've been trying to be like more gracious when people say it, but like having somebody just mention it every fucking 10 seconds. All right, look, dude, I know I'm fucking beautiful, okay? Don't hate me because I was drawn this way. All right? Coffee. Listen, hand me my pocketbook. On my way to get coffee, I'm gonna get water for the dog. On my way to get coffee, I'm gonna get water for the dog. It's like, Give me my pocketbook. Hand me my pocketbook. I'm going to go get coffee, and then I'm going to get water for the dog. But I need my pocketbook. Tacos. Yeah. That's a tougher one. Tacos. Car keys. Listen, I need my pocketbook, because in my pocketbook are the car keys. I got to get in the car. I got to go get coffee. I got to get water for the dog. I need the car keys. I need the car keys out of the fucking pocketbook. Dude, that accent is wild, bro. It's wild that like originated here on the States. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, straight up Sopranos level, bro. Haba. Listen, give me my pocketbook. I need the car keys. I'm going to get coffee down by the harbor. And then I'm going to get water for the dog. The harbor. I'm going to see my fucking Guma down by the harbor, and I'm going to get coffee on the way. You want a fucking coffee? Throw me my fucking car keys. I'm going to go get fucking coffee, and then I'm going to go see my fucking Guma down by the harbor. All right? She's got this little dog. It's the cutest little fucking dog. Forget about it. This little fucking dog. You never seen a little fucking dog like this. That fucking dog is the cutest fucking dog you ever fucking saw. Marona me. This fucking dog will win. I'm telling you, Tone. This fucking dog will win a fucking dog show. It's that fucking cute. It would win a dog show. I don't know what fucking kind of dog it is. Don't ask me what am I, a fucking dog expert? It's a cute little fucking dog. Drinks a lot of water. You know? For a little thing. You'd think it wouldn't drink as much fucking water as it does, but it drinks a lot of fucking water. I tell her, you gotta give this fucking little dog water, or it's gonna fucking die. It's gonna fucking die. This fucking thing. Shut up. You know they got gabagool for $7.50 for 2 pounds down at the fucking meat market. Shut up. New Jersey. I'm from Jersey City. They don't even ever say New York. I'm going into the city. Where's my pocketbook? I need my pocketbooks. The car keys are in there. I'm going to the city. From New Jersey. What's the least attractive accent? No, Scandinavian is kind of cute though. I like it when Scandinavian people try to speak American English. It is very cute. Why are they sounding Indian now? We are turning into Indians before my eyes. That's a problem with me, dude. A lot of accents. Like, I'll have it in my head. I like it when Scandinavian people try to speak. It is cute. I don't know, man. I think all accents have a kind of cute thing. Like, I love an accent that English people, like, it melts my heart when I hear it. But English people think it's the most disgusting accent on the planet. It's like Scouse or like Liverpool kind of Scouse accent. I think that's the cutest fucking thing, dude. I think a chick speaking Scouse is one of the cutest fucking things in the world, bro. But like if you go to Britain, they're just like, that's the fucking worst accent to the bunch. No, it's not Cockney. It's called a Scouser accent. You can look it up. Scouse, Scouse. I think it's cute. Okay. I don't so much like it when a guy's speaking it, but when a girl's speaking it, it's kind of cute. I can't do it. Yeah, a little like dirty little London gutter snipe is kind of cute too, though. I agree. A filthy little London gutter snipe. Yeah. Riding on the city on my bike all day 'cause the filth took away my license. Doesn't get me down 'cause I feel okay 'cause the sights I'm seeing are priceless. Everything seems to look like it should, but I wonder what goes on behind doors. A fella looking dapper and he's sitting with the slapper and I see it's a pimp and his crack whore. Maybe that's where it started with me. I had a huge crush on Lily Allen for sure. Dude, I bet you could slow those horns down at the beginning of that song. It's like have the bass match it out. Oh my God, by the way, Paul and I figured out something about cooking. The quality of butter makes a huge difference. Get some Kerrygold. It's crazy good. I know. You get good butter, you get good shit. Riding across the city on my bike all day, and the filth took away my life. You really want to fucking freak yourself out, get yourself a little churn and get some full fat milk and make your own fucking butter. I will say Algerian French women with that mixed accent, French and Algiers, is peak. I wouldn't be able to catch it. I'm sure it's nice though. French is beautiful. I mean, French, Italian, German is cute. Scandinavian is cute. Eastern European is very cute. African is cute. Like West African. East African is cute. South African is cute. Australian is cute. New Zealand is cute. It's all cute. I think everybody's just cute. Indian is cute. I love Indian. It's cute. Dude, M, you're so fucking right. The world is hella cute. Oh my God. The world is so cute. I think you're all cute. I want to pinch all your chubby little cheeks. Whoa. What the fuck happened there? All right, I'm back. I was gone for a minute, but I'm back. Whoa. I just went to Rap Town for a minute. Shit. When I start feeling this way, I need to just start spitting it. I need to get to that point. Because at least then I could come back and remember some of it. Want to hear how your journey into Taoism is going? It's going. It's progressing. I don't know how to talk about it. Write it down. That's whack. No, I probably should. I definitely probably should, but it's gone now. Damn it, I did it again. Okay, enough. I wonder what's going on in my head when that happens. Because I really do, and this, like, whatever it is, it can be something wrong with me because I've done it since I was a little kid, dude. I will go fucking lights out. And I'm like up in my head, just like, no, nothing's even happening anymore. It's going without going, yeah. I'm just doing a little woo way. Boots, cats, and boots, boots, cats, boots, cats, and boots, boots, cats. Yeah. Little boom bap. You can add a little horn to it. Boom, bap, boom, 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 bap, boom, bap, boom, 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 bap, boom, bam, bam, dum, bum, bam, bum, bam, dum, dum, bum, bam, 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 dum, dum. Boots, cats, boots, boots, cats. If Paul start producing, it's over, bro. I can only learn one thing at a time, okay? Once I'm fluent in Chinese, then I'll start learning FL Studio finally. Right. The master teaches without speaking. That's another part of the Tao I like. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The Tao that can be described in words is not the eternal Tao. The Master teaches without speaking and leads without exerting his will onto others. The Master does his work and walks away. The Master does not seek recognition for his work. Night, Andrew. I don't know any Chinese insults yet, man. I don't think I'm going to learn those from Duolingo. Here's how you say faggot in Chinese. If I do learn it, I'll call you one. Promise. Jesus. All right. I'm done. I'm out of here.